In the ancient tapestry of biblical mysteries, a hidden thread unravels, challenging the traditional narrative. Explore the enigma of Isaac's lineage. Was he truly the son of Abraham, or did a forgotten Pharaonic connection shape his destiny? Uncover the untold stories, cryptic covenants, and the echoes of Egypt in the biblical saga. Join us on a quest through the shadows of history, where secrets lie beneath the surface, waiting to reshape our understanding of Isaac's extraordinary journey. Biblical ancestral threads unveiled. With the senior Mesopotamian succession from Ham and Nimrod diverted into Egypt, we are left with Shem and his family to provide the Bible's key patriarchal strain from Noah. The parallel lines from Ham and Japhet progressed into Arabia, Anatolia, and Greater Scythia by the Black Sea, then eventually across Europe to Ireland. Japhet was indeed Ham's brother, just as the Bible explains. Hence, as related in Genesis, he was also a son of Tubal-cain, not a son of Noah. Ham and Japhet were key ancestors of the Scots Gaels, and as correctly determined by the noted scholar Robert Graves, Japhet was known to the Greeks as Iapetus, a traditional style with his titanic strain. In practice, he was Iapetus II, the great Anu having been Iapetus I. According to Genesis chapter 10 verse 19, the descendants of Noah's son Canaan were believed to be cursed and were called Canaanites. The Canaanites were said to have lived along the Mediterranean coast from Sidon to Gaza and inland to Sodom and Gomorrah by the Dead Sea. Enlil Jehovah destroyed these cities, and the Canaanites were known as enemies of the Hebrews who were descended from Shem. Genesis provides little information about Shem's immediate family, but it does list them through 9 generations. The stories of the individual patriarchs begin again with Abraham and his wife Sarai, Sarah. However, there is confusion surrounding this couple because, although the Hebrew legacy progressed through them, Sarai was unable to have children during the early years of their marriage. This was not uncommon for the biblical accounts of this family. Rebekah, the wife of their eventual son Isaac, was also described as barren, as was Rachel, the wife of Isaac and Rebekah's son Jacob. In those days, it was common for girls to marry before they were able to bear children, and the old texts generally refer to the infertile periods of their early married lives. Sarah's covenant journey unveiled. The story of Sarai is nonetheless a strange one. First, we are informed that she cannot conceive, but then, within a few verses, we learn that her husband, Abraham, is to be founding patriarch of a great nation. Subsequently, Sarai presents Abraham with her Egyptian companion Hagar to be his wife. But when Hagar conceives, she is chastised and banished by Sarai, as if the outcome were unexpected. In due course, Ishmael, the first son of Abraham, is born to Hagar, but is then announced that his inheritance is to be superseded by a forthcoming son of the hitherto barren Sarai, a son who will be named Isaac. At this stage in the Old Testament account, Jehovah, who is called El Shaddai in the early texts, makes 3 further pronouncements. 1. Abraham is renamed from his former name, Abram. 2. The rule of circumcision is introduced for the family heirs. 3. Sarai's Mesopotamian name, meaning contentious, is changed to Sarah, denoting a princess. In the context of Sarai's name change, El Shaddai further informs Abraham that the newly designated Sarah will be a mother of nations and that kings of people shall be of her. Although Abraham's ancestral family has been influential in Mesopotamia, this is the Bible's first mention of future Hebrew kingship, but no reason is given for such an ostensibly important prospect. In fact, this particular covenant was not actually made with Abraham, but with the unborn Isaac. I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. Genesis also contains the promise that Isaac's descendants will inherit the Egyptian empire, from the river of Egypt onto the great river, the river Euphrates. No such promise is made, however, in respect of Abraham's eldest son Ishmael, nor for any of Abraham's other 6 sons by his additional wife Keturah. Abraham was somewhat bewildered by this and asked about Ishmael's prospects, to which El Shaddai replied that he would make him fruitful, but my covenant will I establish with Isaac. This makes it clear that although Ishmael was the elder of the half-brothers, Isaac was to be recognized as the ancestor of the future kings. Why then did Abraham later concede to slay Isaac with a knife upon the altar at Moriah? And why, when putting a stop to the slaying, did the angel refer to Isaac as Abraham's only son, when we know that he had previously fathered Ishmael? Isaac's legacy, Pharaoh's intrigue unveiled. In considering these two questions, it is of interest to note that the Quran, while relating the same story of the near sacrifice, does not name the son concerned. Indeed, many Islamic scholars conclude that the intended victim was not Isaac, but Ishmael, the son of Hagar, for who is described in the Book of Adam as the daughter of a pharaoh and descendant from Nimrod. Researchers have long debated and pondered upon the ambiguity of this whole sequence of events, with particular wonder over why the Empire of Egypt should be the kingdom promised to the successors of Isaac. Historically, this would make sense only if the compilers of Genesis knew that a line of descendant from Isaac had become pharaohs of Egypt. Also, another anomaly which has long baffled historians is the introduction of circumcision at this particularly early stage of the Hebrew saga. Herodotus, the Greek cultural writer and father of historians who visited Egypt in about 450 BC, recorded that circumcision, a custom inherited by the Hebrews, was originally performed only in ancient Egypt, as has been confirmed from examinations of excavated mummies, and by a bas relief at Karnak which details the surgical procedure. This being the case, not only did Isaac's covenant of kingship promise future Egyptian dominion from the Nile to the Euphrates, but the covenant of circumcision implemented a hitherto unique Egyptian custom into the Hebrew culture from the days of Abraham. Why? What was the nature of the Egyptian influence upon the family at that particular time? The only Egyptian connection that we are told about is Sarai's entry into the household of the pharaoh, who wanted her for his wife, at which point Abraham denied that Sarai was his own wife and claimed instead that she was his sister. Then, a little later, we are informed that Abraham and Sarai were both offspring of Terah, and Abraham explains, "She is my sister, she is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife." In the Ethiopian chronicle, Nazum el-Jawahir, the String of Gems, Terah's wives are given as Tohwait, mother of Sarai, and Yanu, mother of Abraham. Tohwait is recorded in the Syriac Amarath Gaze as Nahariath, who is to be identified with Enfrai-Tajunin, the former wife of Pharaoh Amenemhet I. Her son by this marriage was the succeeding Pharaoh Senusret I, the very Pharaoh who claimed Sarai for his wife. This is not surprising since Sarai was Senusret's maternal half-sister, as well as Abraham's paternal half-sister, and it was common practice for Egyptian pharaohs to marry their sisters in order to progress the kingship through the female line. With this in mind, could it be that Isaac was not the son of Abraham after all, but the son of Sarai and the pharaoh? Let us look again at the sequence concerning Abraham and Sarai in Egypt. The English translation of Genesis quotes the Pharaoh as saying to Abraham, "Why saidst thou, she is my sister, so I might have taken her to me to wife?" But this is not what the Hebrew Bible says. The same entry translated directly from the Hebrew states, "Why did you say, she is my sister, so that I took her for my wife?" There is a distinct difference here, and the Hebrew writers were empathetic about the fact that Sarai and the Pharaoh were actually married for a time. In contrast to this, both the Hebrew and English texts, when relating to the later period of Sarai's time with King Abimelech of Gerar, make the point that Abimelech had not come near her, but no such statement is made in respect of her relationship with the Pharaoh. Abraham's son or Pharaoh's heir? If Isaac was the son of Pharaoh Senusret, then the seemingly enigmatic details of the covenant would fall neatly into place. We could then readily understand Sarai's name change to Sarah, princess. Similarly, the introduction of the Egyptian custom of circumcision would make sense, as would the prospect of future dynastic kingship in the Egyptian domain. It would even explain the relevance of the mysterious birthright that was eventually sold by Isaac's son Esau to his brother Jacob. We have compelling evidence that Isaac was the son of the Pharaoh and not Abraham. However, the evidence, though convincing and thoroughly rational, is mainly circumstantial. One day, further information will be unearthed, proving the case one way or the other. Meanwhile, Isaac remains the son of Abraham in accordance with long-standing tradition. As we peel back the layers of time, the veil over Isaac's lineage remains tantalizingly opaque. The elusive truth, shrouded in echoes of Egypt, challenges our perceptions of biblical narratives. Yet, in the dance of shadows, some mysteries defy unraveling. The legacy of Isaac, whether bound to Abraham or Pharaoh, endures an enigmatic cipher in the tapestry of ancient tales. Our journey pauses here, leaving the whispers of history to linger, an unforgettable invitation to explore the cryptic corridors of the past, where some secrets, it seems, are destined to endure. Now, it's time to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Until next time.